say, like, the tough love you showed on Friday led to some of the best walks I've ever had.
Sure.
Mainly because I'm getting better and he's actually listening to me now.
Sure. So here you're going to want to address this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. There you go. Right. Be consistent. Yep. Yep. Good. Up. There you go. Now relax. Yep. Okay.
That was my only comment is better at walking, still struggling with the
Reactivity?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'm trying to put into practice what you're telling me, but I feel like I'm doing it wrong.
Okay. How so?
I don't know. I feel like I tap and then it triggers him.
Okay.
And then I'm like, oh, should I have tapped sooner? And sometimes he'll be fine.
No.
And I'll preemptively tap.
Sure.
And then he just explodes and I'm like,
right. So we're either not at a number that's
should I increase the voltage, by the way?
Yeah. Because that earlier on that 35, I saw the contraction, but you didn't really seem to be phased. Is when we get the reactivity, whether it's too soon, too early, not high enough, too high, too low. There's a lot of factors, right? That breaking it down and trying to figure out the reason is going to be, how would you say? It's not going to benefit you.
Okay.
It's going to just make you doubt too much. Okay, so that's why I treat it like a science experiment where I go, okay, if for Monday 25 didn't work, then Tuesday I go to 30. If 30 doesn't work for Tuesday, then I go to 35 on Wednesday, right? And it just keep gradually increasing until maybe you find out like, wow, on 85, yeah, he was yipping, but I had to promote him far less because I was squashing the reactivity. Okay, so like right here you became vocal, right? And you're at 35?
I just bumped it up to 37.
37, okay. From 35?
Yeah.
I'd go to 40.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the reason why I'd go to 40 now is so the incremental stuff that we did in the beginning was so to get you reference points, right? And then you're going at such a small degree that for the owner it's easier because they don't feel bad, okay? Whereas now this is now class 8,
Yeah.
right? Where now it's like, I already know in my head that he's got a good concept, he just doesn't want to do it. Okay, similar to like the recall stuff. Remember the recall?
Yep.
When he just like was like not having it and like picking up sticks and stuff. Okay, it's the same deal except it's just a different behavior. So I would go in a bigger jump and like let's say 40 for whatever reason was too much, then I go down to 38. You know, it's better to go a little bit over than it would be to be too much under.
Okay.
Because dogs are aware of these things. Like when humans correct their dog, like I'll come in, I'll correct the dog, do a firm correction and have the owner do it. And there's clearly a very big discrepancy between my correction and the owner's correction.
Yep.
Is the dog perceives that. And the dog goes, oh yeah, you tried to do what Jesse did, but you don't have the intention. Like they don't have the confidence in that correction or don't, because the apprehension like I don't want to hurt my dog. And I go, it's not about hurting the dog, it's about correcting them appropriately, but it has to be to this degree. But the owner's just struggling with that. The dog knows that, because they can feel it, So they can tell like if you're bluffing or not, that's how I would put that. So the walks are good, but now it's that reactivity stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the highest you want this sprint?
In the 50s.
In the 50s, okay.
And that's mainly because there was some reactivity, so I like bumped it up.
On his part or their part?
The combo. So last Friday there was one husky walking around that kept setting him off.
Okay.
When we were training together.
Oh yeah.
I recently found out they're my neighbors.
Huh.
And so their husky is constant trigger point for Elmo.
Sure.
And the owners also don't pay attention when they're walking the dog, so I almost killed one of the owners.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I saw last time. He was on his phone the whole time.
Yeah.
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 Okay. When you try to address your activity, have you been able to successfully like shut him down, or do you feel like he's maintains reactivity the entire time?
I think he maintains some reactivity the entire time. He does calm down. Like I've done that once or twice. Because here's an example. Like I was walking in, he was reactive with the dog. I stood in place, doing the tapping, and you know the other dog, the owner dragged the dog away, and then I was about to go like, okay, time to go for a walk, and then I stopped and was like, wait, Jesse said I have to make sure that Elmo is properly brought down to baseline because he's still agitated.
Correct.
So then I just stood there and would occasionally tap and just wait till he seemed a little more settled.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you tapped him, like after that to calm him down, did you keep your number the same or did you go lower?
I want to say I dropped it.
Okay. And then how did he respond?
Like that.
Okay. And then what? Would he stay like that whiny?
Yeah.
Okay. So the highest you said was 50s?
Yeah.
Okay. How many taps before you shut it down?
5 or 6.
Okay.
Which means I should go up.
Higher, yeah.
But he was also pulling. I'm not the best in stressful situations.
Sure. Well, the good thing is this is controlled context.
Yeah.
Right? So when you put yourself into it, you already like know what to expect. And like it's hard, right? Because you got the dog vocalizing, and you got the person, you got the people, and you got the barking, and all this stuff going on at once.
Yeah, and he's pulling super hard, and I'm like.
Yeah. So I'm personally not a fan of the remote around the neck.
Yeah.
I know some people put like the doily thing.
Doily thing?
Yeah, the curly thing
that
you can put around your wrist. Some people do that. I do like I see you got like a carabiner on your jeans.
Yeah.
So what I do with mine is like I have a belt loop here. Is I just put the carabiner to the remote and it's right here.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
The only thing is you don't get I don't need to look, but if you're still using like the numbers as frame of reference, that's the only drawback is you don't get that. But yeah, so 5 to 6 taps before he cuts the crap tells me it's still a little too low.
Yep.
But you're closer. Okay, so then if you're at 50s, let's say you're at 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Today, then the next time I see a dog and I'm preparing for activity, I'm at 55. And if it takes me 5 to 6 taps, and the next time I see a dog, I'm at 60. Like I'm just each time going up higher, right off the bat. Because once you let's say you do like 85 and you get a big, right? And you do 1 tap on 85, but then he just shuts down. It was 1 tap, right? Then I'm like, oh, okay, that's much easier than 5 to 6 taps on 50, right? Because that 5 to 6 taps could be 30 seconds or whatever. Whereas if I have it on whatever if the number is, for example, 85, one loud, oh my God, what was that? But then the next time he sees a dog, he doesn't do anything. The next time he sees a dog, he doesn't do anything. So that 85 not only corrected it very quickly, but it also he retained it. So then the following dogs he saw were not getting that behavior. Because you don't want to just stop it. You want to stop it and not see it again.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to achieve here. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. We've been a lot better on walks.
Okay, but we still got the reactivity thing.
Still got the reactivity thing, and yeah, I still get dirty looks from other dog owners when my dog gets reactive, and I'm just like, sorry.
The other thing you could do, or we could do, is see how much more control you have with the prong collar.
Right.
That'll
I
give
need
you
to buy a new collar.
That'll give you a lot more leverage. You'd be on the 2.25. They're usually around 15 to 25 bucks. It just depends on what the market's like. But you can get them on Amazon as well. But that would give you more immediate leverage, and it may also help you tame him down without a ton of power. Like your number can potentially go lower.
You often do.
I tap.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, you don't really do it. And I was like,
So remember, if you ever feel like you should tap or you're questioning you should tap, I would just tap. Yeah. Because that's you like recognizing something, but probably just not 100% on what it is, right? Because when he's next to you, like he should just be like, this is where the conversation is, right? For you. you're facing this way, and of course I'm facing that way, is his attention should be in the same direction as you. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
Okay, so if he's completely looking this way, it's because his attention isn't on you, his attention is on that friendship playing fetch over there. Okay?
Or the couple who just walked by.
Or the couple that just walked by, for sure. Okay? Anything else?
So, is it just me or does he seem extra stressed?
Well, he's shaking.
Why?
It could be the residual stress from so earlier when that excitement, it can be from that as well.
Oh.
Yeah. So when people see excitement, they tend to think happy.
Yeah.
But it's not happy, it's excitement. They're two different things. So excitement, like I said earlier, very easily translates into reactivity, aggression, fear, nervous response, anything like that. So that's why I always like keeping dogs in a passive state. I'm not saying that you can't be excited, I'm just saying there's a time and place for it.
Right.
Okay? And then even though another person would be like, oh, like he's happy to see me, and they would like that. Me, I'm like, yeah, but that's a reactive dog, and reactive dogs don't do well with overstimulation. Okay?
Yeah.
And then that whole thing, that whole spiel happened right after he saw us. So it's just that stacking stimulation.
Right.
And then you get that over-exaggerated response. Anything else? Is there anything particular you'd like to work on?
Do you want to try recall?
Okay.
I think I have.
If not, we have ours. We'll work over here.
Because I noticed, I've been trying to do recall on the walks, and I noticed he's being for a couple of weeks he was really good at it. This week, I don't know if it's because I was harsher on him on the walks, but when I did recall, he was a lot less motivated to come back with me.
Okay.
Because I was like, okay, break, Elmo come, and then he'd just sniff around, eventually walk up to me, sometimes walk past me, and then back to me.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we'll do that.
I was not sure what was happening there.
We got another dog. Good. There. Good.
Okay.
And how are you practicing it? Like just letting them be free and then
On the walk, well, I'm using the shorter leash, instead of this longer one.
oh, okay, like a short leash recall type deal.
Yeah, because I'd be like, okay, well, while we're on this walk, I'm gonna let you have a 5-minute break,
Sure.
and then when the break's over, I'm just gonna call you to me, and then from there, did I get it out?
Let's go with flip one and then give some space here. Yeah, you got it. Relax. Good. Yeah.
Watch out.
Good. Good and buff it. Come. You're 44? Okay. And you got to pump on the other one? All right.
Why is everyone?
I know, that's all I was like, why does everybody get their dog along today? So, that moment there, and you got another dog. That moment, that wasn't too bad in terms of de-escalation. The one thing that I can only, because I'm not sure when I'm not around, like how you're handling it, but when you have to address them, is it usually longer than what it was just now?
Yeah.
Okay. I would think because you said he'll be pulling, correct?
Yeah.
So pulling means he's ahead of you. So I'm wondering if you're pulling back and not up.
I definitely have caught myself doing that.
Sure.
Recently, and I was like, wait, Jesse said up, pull up.
Yeah.
So I do that. And he does calm down a lot faster when I pull up, but half the time when he gets reactive, I am not thinking 100% like, oh wait, Jesse said do this.
Sure.
So then what ends up happening is, there's so many nonsense things.
Yeah, it's all there. Keep pulling that end right there.
Is that?
Pull like this.
Down?
Yeah. I think that'll. Oh, there it is though.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if it's
half
a lot,
the time I'm not thinking about pulling up, and then I remember like, wait, pull up.
if there's,
I was just gonna say one more thing. It's like, remember how the last Friday he almost slipped out of his
Margell?
Yeah. I haven't bought a new one yet, so I was pulling up while he was reactive, and at one point I was like, oh shit, this is gonna slip off of him.
It really shouldn't unless he goes back. He has to go like this for it to come off. Okay. So if you're pulling up, unless he's backing up, it shouldn't slip over his head. Unless you clip it to his donut collar there.
Donuts?
Unless it loosens up. But in the meantime, I think you'll be okay. When he becomes reactive, instead of thinking remote first, which is usually what I teach, think up first. Like, get that out the way. Get this, so first thing I do is I choke up on the leash and I go up.
Okay.
So when I took Elmo from you last week, that's the first thing I did was I choked up. And then I worried about the remote and everything else. Okay? So even if you maybe have a few moments where you don't address the reactivity just because you're so focused on just getting that habit down, because that's super important. Because right here, as soon as you pulled up and tapped, like, he calmed down within like a second and a half.
Yeah.
So that backwards tension, because the backwards tension is telling them to be more pissed off. Okay. When you up de-escalates, back or up and back escalates. Okay, that's why I always teach everybody, always pull straight up. But I understand you have a lot to think about. Your first thing should always be, if you turn a corner in reactivity, it's just right away choke up on that leash, pull up, and then I would worry about hopping to my remote. Okay, because as you've seen, if he's lunging and pulling and you're trying to remote him, it takes longer.
Yeah.
Right, and we're trying to get this done as quickly as possible. And I think once you get that down a few times, and you're like, oh wow, this is much more effective than what I was doing before, then you'll start to make some more progress. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else?
No. But it's true, when I do pull up, he does calm down faster.
Okay. So we'll just have to fix that habit.
Right.
Okay.
So pull up first and then.
Correct. Okay. So whenever taking him, like, as soon as you see the blow up, the first thing is boom, here, then I go to here. Okay. And I go up about like this much, because even if he goes up to redirect towards the leash or my hand, it's out of the range of his mouth.
Right.
So like you saw him, I think he was hopping up, and I was going up with him and coming down like this, But then just for me, at least, keeping him at bay just in case there's a redirect. But I would definitely pay attention to those times where it's really hard to de-escalate them. Just assess, like, what did I do in that moment? And if you're finding like, oh, I was pulling them back, because that will make it harder for that to shut down, this reactivity. Okay.
That is my first instinct, is to like
Everybody's,
pull my dog.
Yeah, everybody's first instinct is always to pull away. So that's why I always have to like tell people relax and then to like pull up and then all the other stuff. Okay, no biggie. Anything else? All right, so I'll have you show me just how what you remember from practicing,
Okay.
and we'll take it from there. Okay?
Sounds good.
And we'll go this way.
So should I go this way?
Yeah.
Okay. I also think it's good for him to have separation.
Tap. Tap. Wait a moment. Has he gotten more? The past 2 weeks, he's gotten more vocal. Go ahead and grab your short leash. I feel like these past 2 weeks, he's gotten super vocal.
Probably.
You work home still, right?
Yeah.
That's attachment stuff. Like, just like literally just me holding him for like a few seconds at 30 feet from you is literally what caused all that.
Yep.
Okay, so at what points were you tapping here for Elmo?
When I said Elmo come, I tapped.
Okay.
When he started jumping, I tapped.
Okay.
And when he started barking, I started tapping more.
Okay. Now when he barks in this context, when you give the tap, you gotta give space to see what he does next. Okay, don't continuously tap. So it's, bark, 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 tap, bark, 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 tap, bark, 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 right? Clearly the tapping is doing nothing.
Right.
Okay, so what we're looking for is bark, 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 tap,
Silence.
bark, tap. Like a little bit of a gap there. Okay? When you're gonna tap him, I'm gonna have you say tap.
Tap?
Yeah. I'm gonna have you say it.
So you know
So
what
I
I'm
know,
doing.
because I was looking, I could see when I thought you were tapping, but having you say it for me. So if you went, tap, 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 I would know that's too much.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Also, since he's having this weird separation stuff, can we talk about that after this?
Yeah, for sure.
Great, because this is bad. Okay. Elmo, come. Tap.
Yep.
Tap.
Stand where you are.
Tap.
Don't move. Wait. Tap. Wait. Tap. Grab your short leash. Alright. So one thing you want to be careful of is, are you scared of being bit?
For the most part, no.
Okay, because you keep pulling away. Every
Oh, because
time-
I don't want him to jump on me.
Oh, just angry or something.
Okay.
Because you look very scared.
Huh?
Okay? And Zach can pull more from you.
Okay.
So I'm just like this. If he throws a steal, tap, wait, But as soon as you start moving back like that, because he kept jumping more as you were moving away. Okay, because he's taking your space, And I always, if anything, if the dog jumps at me, I just kneel. Okay? Because then you're claiming your own space. The more you move, the more he's going to feed off of that.
Okay.
So as best you can, be still. But you can see when I just hold you for those few seconds.
Should I tap?
Calm down. Go ahead, that fella.
Elmo, come.
Now wait.
Tap.
Wait. Tap.
Up. Up.
Tap. Wait. 20.
What?
20.
48?
20.
20.
Go
Drop
down to
it?
20.
Okay.
Tap. That's not, something's not right. mean, he's got. Are you okay?
Yeah, fine. He like nicked me a little bit, but didn't break his skin. So.
Yeah. His frustration levels. Because when we did the recall before, I remember him being a jerk, but not like attachment stuff. This is really bad attachment. Like I'm literally just taking him and walking right here. You know? I gotta figure this out now. Has you moved here when?
June or July?
July. We're in October. We just hit October. So I essentially started working with you just after you moved here.
Yeah, August. I will say, like, I took him to his first Logan'sburg vet visit here.
Okay.
And, you know, I had to drop him off at the vet. They don't let humans in anymore.
Right.
So at first he was a little reluctant, but then he was more than happy to go inside. So I don't know.
How long ago was that?
That was yesterday.
Yeah, but even last week, last week it was the same thing, remember?
Yeah.
As soon as I took the leash, he started
freaking
throwing
out.
the tantrum.
Yeah.
I had to figure it out. And that's crazy needy boy attachment. Okay. So we're gonna do one more. We're gonna do it at the lower number, okay?
At 20?
Yeah.
Okay. He knows what's happening too.
Yeah, I know. These anxious dogs will pick up on patterns. So what I'm gonna have you do is instead of doing the e-collar, if he starts jumping, pop him with the short leash.
Okay.
Okay, just like this. Okay?
Elmo, come.
Okay, grab your leash. Now pop.
What?
Pop. Up. That's more of a tug. You want to give in slack and then pop. Better. There you go. Yeah. Give in slack. No, I'm sorry. So grab your leash like you did. That's good. Now you're gonna move into Elmo. Right on. Pop. Yeah, I think it's too big for sure. So what you're doing is you're moving into towards his head.
Okay.
Real quick. Just there you go. That's better. Okay, because you have to give yourself leverage on the collar. You have to give slack so that when you come up, it creates that moment of tension on the leash. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try this then.
Okay. Hold on. Now I need to find one more.
Okay.
There it is.
So you don't hit that tree. So like here, in and out real quick.
Okay. Elmo, come.
Okay. Now relax. Okay. All right. Bring him over here. What does your day with Elmo look like?
Like, in general?
Yeah.
Wake up, walk, work, walk, go home,
Put it down.
walk, go home, Yeah, that's pretty much my day. I spend most of my day in my house.
Okay. And he's there with you, beside you the whole day, or what?
Not beside me. He like wanders off. He actually doesn't spend that much time next to me.
What's his energy like in the home?
For the most part, he's pretty chill. Yesterday, for the first time in a couple of years, he had zoomies.
Okay.
After a walk to boot. I was like, what?
And you hadn't seen it in a couple of years?
Yeah. So, yeah, zoomies. Sometimes, especially in the mornings, he's jumpy and all up in my business.
Okay.
And bark. The mornings is when he has the highest tendency to bark in the house.
Okay. Do you correct that?
I need him.
Okay.
Like, no.
How does that work?
He'll like get back on all fours, look at me, and then
Jump
do it again.
Okay. And then what happens?
I knee him again, and if he keeps doing it, at one point I will use both my hands and I will push him and
Okay.
off of me.
Okay. So, what that's telling me is your knee corrections he's not respecting or too understanding them.
Yeah, he seems to think it's a game.
Yes, exactly. Especially when you do that push down and you're creating more energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When you do the knee corrections are fine. Okay? Is if I'm here and the dog jumps at me, it's pop, like, and you might see him go and roll on his back and pop his head, right? And then he'll get up and try to jump on you again. What does that tell me?
He didn't get
You didn't get it, right? So like, because people see that, because you're logical, you're gonna see all that other stuff, right? Or that's just the thought of that happening, is it makes us apprehensive to use that physicality. But again, dogs bite each other. Right? And like, I've seen dogs at the dog park like just slam into each other, roll 20 times, get back up, shake it off, and keep playing. You know, like, that's just them.
Right.
So I would stick more to the knee corrections and not the push, okay? But make it like you have to make him cut the crap.
So should I use the collar in the house too?
Well, they're actually, so the one thing I was thinking about here is e-collar is super effective, but there's certain things that I don't want to say it won't work, but it makes the situation harder. Okay, so like, I had a client that I worked with, we did a board and train with their dog, and the dog is very attached to the husband. And when the husband left to go get something from his car, his wife was walking the dog, and the dog was like this, throwing a fit. Okay, so then the e-collar was making the dog louder. So what I had her do instead was knee the dog. And then you see within like 5-10 minutes, the dog finally chills out. But it wasn't the e-collar, it was the knee corrections. You could also use the prong collar to correct these things. The problem is with very vocal dogs, it's a shit show, as you can see, right? But it's essentially writing all that crap out and like, and him learning like, I'm not going to get my way. That's why I said do the leash pops. Okay. But as soon as you grab the leash, what happened?
He jumped, I think, right?
Just after that.
He calmed down.
Yeah, right? But remember, before you were doing that, he was jumping like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Right? And as soon as you grab the leash, he calmed down.
Yeah. Is that just because I'm holding the leash that he's like, okay, she's here?
Something like that. You know, it's like, so dogs see things in pictures. So like, you know, when we do recall, like if you have the long leash, the dog will be perfect. But then when you drop the leash, because there's nothing leading them to you, they don't know what to do. Yeah. So for whatever reason, grabbing that short leash just provided some kind of sense of security. But that's not what I wanted. What I wanted was you to be able to correct them physically in a different manner that was more so confrontational, like you going, yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay? And doing the correction yourself.
Right.
So the pro to e-collar is that it's non-confrontational. The con to it is it's also non-confrontational, because sometimes confrontation is healthy, but you have to do it in the correct way.
Right.
And there's no dog in the other direction. All right. But you haven't done any long leash stuff with them, right? It's always been short leash recalls?
No, I did a few. Like, I have a couple of frisbees in here, so for the long leash ones, I've been hooking up the long leash, throwing the frisbee, and then calling him back after he catches the frisbee.
Okay.
And he was, when I was doing that, he was really good for the most part. He just didn't drop the frisbee. That was the only problem with that plan. But yeah, he was pretty good on the long leash with the frisbees. He's usually pretty good on the short leash. It's like the past week he hasn't been great.
Okay. And then what was the other thing you wanted to ask me?
So if he's having attachment, like, I really don't want him to get any more anxious because he's already a pretty anxious dog. So if me staying at home is making him even more anxious because it produces separation anxiety, should I be like crating him for a couple of hours a day and like staying away from him?
What I have people, all my clients that are working from home right now, is I've been telling them either with new puppies or their dogs as is, from 9 to 5 they're crated.
Okay.
I'm telling them keep that 9 to 5 schedule of separation. Because, like, let's say, you know, for those that just got a new puppy, once they go back to work, whenever that is, you know, then it's going to be not only now you're kenneled from 9 to 5, but now you're kenneled from 9 to 5 and I'm gone. So, yeah, so just starting that 9 to 5 routine of like, hey, you're going to be crated and away from me, and maybe he's barking or something, then you have a blue collar to correct him, or you can get a bark collar or whatever. You know, at 1 o'clock, you can let them out to go for a potty break walk or whatever. I tell people to do what their life would look like. So if it's like from 9 to 1, the dog would be kenneled, dog walker would come. And then from that point on until I get home, the dog would be crated. Then I tell them, recreate that pattern. But you don't need the dog walker because you're there, it can be yourself. Right. But it's just that pattern of like, you know, we would have someone come in. Otherwise, if it's no, there would be no dog walker and he'd be crated from 9 to 5, then he's crated from 9 to 5. So you're forcing the separation.
Just one comment, it's like, I have left him alone on the weekends when I go grocery shopping. And he, for the most part, doesn't bark or whine. At least not that I'm aware of, because when I leave, he's quiet, because he has a Kong toy with food and peanut butter in it. And when I come back, I don't hear anything. So that's good, right?
You can ask your neighbors.
True.
They could tell you. It's like,
well, my neighbors claim they never hear my dog bark, so I think they're lying.
I don't know why anybody would lie about that.
Yeah.
First thing I'd be like, damn, your dog barks.
Well, it's to acknowledge that there is a problem, and like you're aware of it. That's great.
You could tell them like, hey, like, you know, like I'm working on my dog separation anxiety. You know, just want to be a good neighbor, make sure he's not being a nuisance, whatever. Please let me know if he's barking.
Yeah.
You know. Anytime anybody's ever dealt with something like that, I always tell them first thing you should do is just tell your neighbors, so that they at least they know you're being proactive about it. Because most people's assumption is the dog barks a lot, they're not doing anything about it.
Right.
So if you tell them like, hey, I'm actively working on my dog separation anxiety. Would you please just let me know, if he's barking and for how long he barks for or whatever. Then that's feedback for you on whether or not there really is an issue. Okay. But this all that nonsense right there was attachment stuff. Last week was more attachment stuff. Okay. But yes, working from home for a lot of people has created this problem. So I've been telling everybody, I don't care if your dog's an adult or a puppy, 9 to 5 you crate them, because now they'll get too used to. Things can always change.
Yeah.
They'll say like, oh, my dog didn't have separation anxiety before, and now they do.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think here. So the only other time you see behavior like that is in the mornings?
Yeah, in the mornings.
Okay.
It is super annoying.
So you wake up and he's just like ready to go.
I sometimes am asleep and he's ready to go, and that manifests as him jumping on my bed and pulling the covers off. I'm not kidding.
All right. Have I sent you the bonker videos?
The bonker videos?
I guess not. Okay, I'll make a note.
What are the bonker videos?
So, because you have to correct that behavior, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So a bonker is a rolled up towel, and you can use hair bands or a rubber band to keep its shape. So it's a cylinder-like shape, and I suggest you make like 3 or 5 of them or whatever. So it's a firm but soft surface, and you literally just bonk them with it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, to correct it.
Yeah.
So like if you're like sleeping and then like he goes to take the blankets off the bed, you just whack him with it. Okay.
Got it.
So I have 3 videos that I send to everybody: how to make one, how to use one, and then one of a trainer actively using one. That one's super important because you will see the level of force that he uses. It's not soft, okay? And he does it with the puppy. You know, so like age doesn't matter. The puppy's being super pushy, and he goes no, boom, cracks the puppy. And then you see a complete shift in the dog's demeanor.
Right.
And people will say like, oh, the dog was scared. I'm like, he's not scared, he's being cautious because he doesn't want to get corrected. But that's how dogs learn, you know. So it provides you a means to correct him, and you can use it for the jumping too. I don't care if you use the knee or the bunker, but it not only should you stop it, but it should not happen again.
Right.
Like so you should wake up the next morning and go like, wow, he didn't pull the covers off me, and like I got to sleep in, and I'm getting up, and he's not jumping all over the place. Like that's what it should. That's how it progresses. Okay, and it's simple. It's as simple as just correcting, but you have to correct firmly.
So he didn't used to do the covers thing. That's like pretty recent too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any theory as to why all of this new behavior is manifesting like so recently?
That's why that's what's throwing me off.
I don't understand.
So, well, actually, I have a theory. So, dogs typically take 2 weeks to a month to get comfortable. Okay, that's why I asked. I was like, you just recently moved here. Mm-hmm. You said June, July, but we're going into about 2 to 3 months later. Okay, so it's possible that he's just like settling in now, you know, but with the new environment, the change and everything, and then like you working from home, like I think it's a culmination of all those things together is what's manifesting now. Okay, like the general rule is 2 weeks to a month. That's why I tell everybody, but it doesn't mean that there can't be any outliers. Okay, because like my guys, like when I first moved here from Texas or back from Texas, like my pit didn't poop for like 3 days because she was so anxious. But we came from a small town in Texas to busy South Loop, Chicago, and you know it was too much for her that she didn't poop literally for 3 days. And then one day I just woke up and I'm like, I saw her face, and like today's the day, and she pooped, and you know, and they settled in and they're fine now. So that's what comes to mind is either he's now just kind of settling in, but also just the you being around all the time is not helping him either.
Okay.
Especially with the attachment stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Seems like there's some pent up stress there. Like the morning. So the morning deal, was that always a thing, or was that a more? I know the blankets you said is recent, but was like the morning stuff like a thing that he did?
No, not really. That's also a more recent thing.
Gotcha.
Elmo was adopted in 2017, so like he's only manifesting all of this now.
Sure.
So
I definitely would. I think a prong would help here. Okay. My only concern would be he's getting so agitated is the redirect.
Oh.
Okay.
So he would aim at me.
Correct. That's what like last week when I switched him to my slip leash here, was because this gives me more leverage because of where it's fitted, and then that's why I was switching you to that to see if that would address the reactivity that he was displaying, and not risk the redirect. Okay. All right, I gotta figure this one out.
Well, the good news is I'm probably gonna board him when I'm.
I don't know. That's not like good news to me.
It's not good news for you. Well, it's good news for you because you get my money.
Just joking.
Yeah. That'll be stressful for you guys.
Oh yeah, because you said October, right? I forgot we're already in October. October what?
Probably 22nd to. I emailed Maria, so I need to correct her because I'm going to be out of town from the 22nd. I return on the 29th, but the time my flight comes in means that I can only pick them up on the 30th.
Oh, I see. Sure. What I would suggest, if possible, is he doesn't have to because I'm training. I know him, but doing the evaluation, so the daycare days.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, maybe I can do it over the weekend, and that might help with the separation anxiety / give me a chance to do my chores.
Sure. Yeah. The weekends are typically slower, which it's fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Like fewer clients or fewer people working at the facility?
No, at the daycare, fewer daycare dogs.
Oh, that actually makes sense because people.
Yeah, Monday through Friday. Yeah. But it'll help just ease them into the environment, so it's not just like okay, here you are and I'm gone for a week, because that's its own deal.
Right.
But you can get that squared away with Maria as well.
Okay.
He doesn't have to because I already know him, but I would suggest it for him just because of everything that we're seeing here.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how he does. There's no issue. Like obviously, if he's being barky or whatever, we'll correct it. It's not a problem. But it'll definitely make his stay better. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay. Because we had a client, their dog's boarded with us for like a week, and when they brought him in for the first daycare day, they didn't pee, poop, eat, or drink or anything.
Oh.
So when they went home, they were doing all this stuff, and they're like, "Oh my God, did you reject the dogs all day?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, they were so stressed out because it's a completely new environment that they didn't go. And then after that, we got better and better, and then they relaxed, or one of them relaxed. At least they weren't super anxious.
Sorry, that thinking is.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So okay.
I'll arrange that with Maria.
Yeah. So I would start creating 9 to 5. Whether or not you walk them midday, and I would create them in a separate room with you, if possible.
Yeah.
Okay. The morning stuff, I'm gonna send you videos on the bonker, so you can make one, and I'll make a couple, and then let's see if we can squash all that. There should be no reason why he's doing that stuff. Okay, like it's nonsense. But like technically, like if he's getting away with that behavior in the home, like if there's inconsistencies.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So like it's one thing if you're like, my dog only barks when he's on the leash. I'm like, okay, cool, then we squash this instance and then that's it. But if it's like, well, he barks on the leash and he barks in the morning and he barks when I crate him and he does, then it's like, oh, like there's a lot more stuff going on in the bigger picture.
Yeah. Because I give him snacks, he doesn't bark when I crate him.
I wouldn't give him snacks.
Really?
Straight up.
Why no snacks?
Well, because I want to challenge him as much as possible.
Okay.
Like I'm not like if we didn't have these behaviors, I honestly wouldn't care. That's what dictates everything, is the dog's behavior.
Okay.
Like I'm not gonna give a dog treats or rewards when he's an asshole in the morning and on the leash when I walk him, and like all these other things.
He only gets snacked. Like that's how I trained him by accident.
Sure.
It's just like a convoy with snacks and the anti-associate. A convoy with the crate. I like the crate now.
Sure. But then the other thing is if it becomes a guarantee. Like my dogs, I did the same stuff. Like I'm not opposed to it, right?
Right.
But at some point I'm like, all right, just go in the crate. Because I said go in the crate. And especially because of all these other things that we're dealing with.
That's why I want to stop giving snacks.
Unless he's earned it, yeah.
Okay.
Like let's say he has a really good day. Like where there's no reactivity and like he was great in the kennel and stuff, then at the end of the day I don't mind giving him something. But that's really for you.
Right.
That makes you feel better. That has nothing to do with this guy.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Yep.
Anything else?
No.
Alright, so for this week, crate, I suggest no snacks, 9 to 5 or whatever your work schedule is. I'm glad that he was walking better, but we gotta figure out this reactivity thing. Do the sequence that I told you. If you get a reactive moment and you're at 50 and it doesn't work, yeah. Well, yeah, you have to focus on that pulling up habit.
Yep.
Prong collar. I'll text myself to remember these things.
That was a lot.
And then we'll see what happens. Anything else?
Could you send me the prong collar suggestion you said I think it was 2.2.
Yeah, prong 2.25. Prong good. Is there anything else?
That's it. We're just trying to make them less separation anxious, figure out reactivity. I need to practice on the sequence, which is short and pull, buzzer.
Yeah.
No treats, braid them, and make a towel thingy to hit him in the morning. Which is funny because I once hit him with a pillow.
Yeah.
No.
Sure. So the thing about this is like, typically when people come in with physicality, it's because they're already pissed off. You know, like they're already frustrated.
Yeah.
And I come in with physicality at the beginning, they're not frustrated.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not so much the physicality that's a problem for dogs. It's the emotion that people that go behind it.
Okay.
You know, because usually by the dog, shut up, or you know, like all that energy, that's actually what creates issues, not the physical correction itself. So the moment you see him about to escalate or whatever, ideally that's when you want to correct.
Right.
Okay. Don't wait there hoping that he's going to calm down.
Because he won't.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. And it should literally be maybe a couple of mornings you correct him, maybe he barks in response, whatever, and runs away. But then after a couple of times, he stops doing it. Okay? That's the biggest giveaway, is like, holy crap, he stopped doing it. Okay?
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope. Should I not have pet him just now?
It's whatever.
Okay.
It's not like something's happening. So, okay?
Cool.
But you can still see, yeah, like he's got this residual tension.
He's super scared.
Yeah.
That's why I pet him, because I'm like, feel better.
The intentions are good, but unfortunately he doesn't understand the meaning of consolation. Consoling. All right, so I'll get that stuff to you.
Great.
And if you need anything else, you let us know, okay?
Yep.
Thanks, Christina.
No, thank you.